about the local election and kind of cover a variety of topics. I'm not quite sure where the hour is going to go, because between the time I posted that and the time we started the show, there have been some changes. Basically, we apparently have some problems with the voter guides. We have at least 3 candidates: Kevin Krajewski on the Pismo Beach City Council, Ashley Smeester, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, Ashley, who's a school board candidate out of Oceano down in Lucia Mar, and Jeff Speck, running for mayor in San Luis Obispo, that have had problems with their voter statements, their candidate statements. Anyway, here to unpack all this and talk about its relevance, always good to be in conversation with attorney Mike Nolan, who joins us now. Mike, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave. Good to be with you.
Thanks for joining us. Veely broke the story at Cal Coast News. Let me just read part of it. San Luis Obispo County Clerk Recorder published and mailed out faulty voter guides to Pismo Beach residents this week, an error that city and county officials are working to correct. The clerk's office properly included the ballot statements of 3 of the 5 candidates running for a seat on the Pismo Beach City Council. However, the clerk failed to include a ballot statement for Kevin Krajewski and included 2 for candidate Stacy Inman. So they left 1 out and gave 1 2 spots in it. And then I received an email later on that this candidate down in Oceano, Ashley Smeester, did not get her statement printed in the voter's guide, and so the only thing you see is her name. Those were through the county, Mike, and then a 3rd candidate, Jeff Speck, running for mayor, apparently submitted his statement to the city clerk in San Luis Obispo, and something was lost in translation, and apparently some things were left out, or the wording was changed, and it's not very flattering to Jeff. So, let's start with a reaction from you.
All right. I just have to say this, that the first thing that the law requires is that 29 days before an election, the voter, county, and city school voter information guide for each be sent out to the voters. And it's required to have certain information in it. And what's happened is that if the story is true, a valid voter information guide has not been mailed to the voters when they were supposed to have been mailed.
Right.
And this has. It's kind of funny. This happened a few years ago up in Dixon, where they left a candidate's statement off the ballot. And he had been on the city council, and the problem that he was really upset with was that he had paid to get his statement on the ballot. And I think most of these candidates are required to make some sort of payment. At least that was for countywide offices, and I think it's for school board. In other words, this isn't a free, gratuitous statement in the sample or the sample ballot or the voter information guide. It's something that you had to pony up and pay for, and the elections officials up and down the state are very clear that they will not correct your typographical errors. They will not change wording on a statement. That the statement will be the way that you wrote it. And they can. I had one in this last election. The elections officer made reject of a statement for a number of reasons. Their own policy, and I had one where a friend made a statement and put 2 exclamation points, and they had a rule. Well, you can have one exclamation point, but not two.
Not two.
So she had to go down and get white out and take that extra exclamation point out. But they weren't going to fix that for her because it was they told her, you have to come back and fix it. We're not touching this. And so to have the candidate in San Luis Obispo to have his statement changed, even if it's just grammatically or is unprecedented. I don't think I've ever heard that ever happening.
So let's break this out, because in terms of Krajewski and Pismo Beach City Council race, and Ashley, the woman running for Lucia Moore School Board, this is through the county and the county voter guide. What recourse, what redress do they have? Basically, this is a matter for if you really want to get into it, to the courts to decide. You could either bring us action in court, fashion some sort of remedy. The elections official in Solano County tried to remedy the problems that they had. I believe that what they should do is reprint the entire voter information guide, because what they sent was invalid. That doesn't conform to the statute, and they should fix it and send a new one. But the ballots are already out.
Well, wait. The 29 days has already passed, and the people are already voting. In fact, just before you called, or we got on the phone, someone called me up and wanted to know for whom to vote for in these local school district elections, and because they got their ballots today or yesterday, and they want to vote early.
Yeah.
So it's affecting the election.
Right. So Kevin Krajewski, I just use him as an example here because he's the one in the original reporting. Pismo Beach City Council, the ballots are out and people are going to their voter guide. He's not in there. Do they have to do the election over again? Is there anything the county can do to correct this?
Well, that's a question that's never really been decided. Usually what happens in these situations is that it's a one-off mistake. There's one candidate with a problem in the entire county. What you have here is something that sounds systemic. There's something wrong with the Lucia Mars School District, which is the largest school district in the county. And there's something wrong with Pismo Beach, which I think they're running at large, and the San Luis Obispo at large election too. I think the city clerk from San Luis Obispo sent the way it used to be, the city clerk would accept the statement, then send it over to the county clerk to be published as part of the voter information guide. And then the county clerk would take that and go to the printer, whoever the printer is. And the printer would come back. But the excuse has generally been, again, up in Solano County, they blamed it on the printer up in Oregon. Oh, he made the mistake. But nobody ever followed up on that. There was no one was held responsible for the, there's going to be additional costs associated to try to fix this, and perhaps what they mail out new voter information guides.
Yeah. Well, and I don't buy the excuse that, you blame it on the printer, because it's up to the county or the city to proofread their work.
You turn something in to the city, they don't like it. To you, you're under obligation to proofread whatever you turn in and whatever you get back. And if I had something, if I had a big printing contract, I would make sure, especially for an election, which is, again, this is required by law. It's a fundamental requirement in the elections code. Yeah, I would have proofread it, and the question is, how people didn't proofread it. Clearly, the idea is that somebody at the elections office should have proofread what came out of the printer.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to see what the printer actually receives. Because it's easy to, the printer's under the gun because he's not or she's not able to, this is their bread and butter, and if they get a reputation for saying, oh no, the elections officer did it, they might see their contracts dry up.
Yeah. All right, Mike Nolan, I'm going to ask you to hang with us for a few more minutes. I got to get this break. And Attorney Mike Nolan, our leadoff guest on Hometown Radio. This is a story that's just kind of getting around the city, getting around the county throughout the day. Apparently that there are serious omissions in the voter guide that has been sent out. We have two candidates whose statements did not make it into the voter guide, and one candidate who apparently it has been re-edited, changed somewhat, and it's all kind of confusing. Mike is sorting it out for us, what all this means. We'll come back and chat for a few more minutes. I'm Dave Congleton on AM 920, FM 96.5 News Talk.